Welcome to the 2020 Halloween-a-thon, where I watch 31 movies throughout the month of October that I've either never seen before or haven't seen since I was a kid. These movies can be either horror, Halloween, or just straight up monster related. I want to say before I start that I'm going to list all the movies in the order I watched them, and I'm going to say a little bit about each movie, just kind of general thoughts. These are all going to be my own personal opinions, so you may or may not agree with them, but it's just kind of what I thought of each movie. Number 1, Rosemary's Baby. People said this was going to be a really slow movie, but honestly it kept me on edge the entire time and was pretty suspenseful. I thought it was really well made and I really enjoyed this movie. Number 2, 13 Ghosts. This movie was a loose remake of the 1960s movie of the same name. It feels very early 2000s and stars Monk, Shaggy, and Sheila from Army of Darkness. Number 3, Hocus Pocus. Now before anyone gets upset, I had seen this movie, just not since I was a kid. It was really fun, magical, and super enjoyable and well made. I can see why it's considered a classic. Number 4, Mother's Day. This movie should have been a lot more campy and less brutal, but if you want to know more about it, you should check out our Halloween special. Number 5, Hold That Ghost. This film is full of sarcastic and slapstick humor, and I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. And the movie includes 3 whole musical numbers. Number 6, The Undead. This one I watched the Mystery Science Theater version of it, so I'm going to give a review of both just for fun. It was a Roger Corman film and has an Assassin's Creed-like plot where a girl gets hypnotized and has to relive her past life. The plot's really confusing and horrible, to be honest, but it was kind of cool to see a young Dick Miller make a cameo appearance. Number 7, Count Dracula. Even though this film stars Christopher Lee as Count Dracula, you know it's not a Hammer film because this Dracula has a mustache. The film gets points for being close to the book and pretty accurate compared to that story, but loses points for being super boring. Number 8, The Invisible Woman. Admittedly, this film's more of a comedy than a horror movie, but it does take place in the Invisible Man universe, even though it really doesn't have any tie-ins with the other movies. The film has a small role from Shemp from the Three Stooges in it, which is kind of interesting because he was also in Hold That Ghost, which was another movie I watched in my marathon. It was really fun and funny, and I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. Number 9, Rubber. This is a movie about a tire that kills people. The movie is self-aware and knows just how ridiculous it is. Don't expect anything logical from this movie. Number 10, Ready or Not. This movie kind of reminded me of a mixture of Rosemary's Baby and Get Out. It had a lot of humor and a lot of action in it and was way better than I expected it to be. Number 11, The Dead Don't Die. This movie has a lot of famous actors in it and a lot of references to famous horror movies, which I liked all that, but the movie was kind of slow and progressively got worse, and the ending wasn't really that great, so it lost a lot of points for that. Number 12, Beetlejuice. Once again, this is one of those movies I saw as a kid but haven't seen in years, so I didn't remember much about it. Obviously, it's a Tim Burton classic, and obviously it's a Michael Keaton classic. In fact, everyone in this movie was great. The whole movie is great. #13, Full Eclipse. This is a movie about werewolf cops, which sounds pretty cool, but to me it seemed kind of dated with a cheesy 90s feel. It was super violent, which was neat, but overall the movie was kind of eh. Number 14, Leatherface. This movie is supposed to be a prequel to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And even though it includes mostly the same characters, they don't act anything like they do in the original movie. The movie only has 2 colors to it, impossible to see blue and urine yellow, and makes the Sawyer family tree way more confusing than it needs to be. And also, the twist at the end is really stupid. Number 15, The Werewolf of Washington. I watched the Elvira version of this one, so I'm going to put the rating for the movie as well as the Elvira episode on the screen. The movie stars Dean Stockwell, who you may recognize from Quantum Leap. It has an interesting werewolf transformation scene in it, but they follow it up with some really lame werewolf antics. And overall, the movie was pretty horrible. Number 16, Christine. I figured since I watched a movie about a tire that kills people, I might as well upgrade to a full car. Even though the movie has a kind of cheesy concept, if you think about it, it's executed really well and is extremely well made, and I highly recommend this one. Oh, and it really makes me want a classic car, just not an evil one. Number 17, It Follows. My first initial opinion of this movie was that they need to turn the bass down because it almost blew the speakers out of my TV. But it was kind of cool because the music sounded a lot like Minecraft, and I like that. But the ending's pretty abrupt, and I didn't like that. Number 18, The Babadook. So one of the things I did like about this movie is that it makes an interesting commentary on how you deal with your own negative emotions and how you can control them. But even though this might make a good intro horror movie to some, I didn't really think it was a great horror movie overall. Number 19, The Witches. This movie was really bizarre. It had Rowan Atkinson in it, but he wasn't in it as much as I wish he would have been. And I really liked the mouse puppets. Number 20, Candyman, Farewell to the Flesh. So this movie had a radio DJ in it that sounded a lot like Three Dog from Fallout 3. It had Candyman's backstory and actually showed his origin on screen, which was kind of cool. But overall, the movie was really cheesy and really boring. Number 21, Candyman 3, Day of the Dead. This movie is a little more interesting than the last Candyman movie, but that's partially because it includes nudity. It shows Candyman's origin story again, and it's different than it was in the last movie. And also, the movie refused to end. Number 22, Fantasy Island. This movie actually surprised me and was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. It does have some pretty blatantly obvious character establishment at the beginning, but the twist at the end makes up for it because it's pretty interesting. Number 23, Firestarter. This isn't necessarily the best Stephen King movie. I mean, it's a little slow, but it's not bad. It's still worth watching. Honestly, it kind of makes me want to see a modern day remake. Number 24, The Exorcist. The movie was a lot slower than I expected, and honestly it was nowhere near as scary as everyone makes it out to be. Number 25, Repossessed. This movie is supposed to be kind of a spoof sequel to The Exorcist. It has a lot of really funny jokes in it, but it has even more jokes that are dated or just simply fall flat. Number 26, Day of the Dead. Even though this is a George Romero movie, I don't know why I didn't expect it to be as good as it is. I guess I kind of assumed Dawn of the Dead was like the peak of his zombie movies, but I was wrong. Day of the Dead's pretty dang good. Bub the Zombie is super awesome, and this movie gave me a lot of inspiration for my own zombie movie projects. Number 27, Come to Daddy. Another movie that was way better than I thought it was going to be. The movie's super suspenseful, and you can never guess what's going to happen next. Number 28, The Mummy's Hand. It's one of those cliche, handsome guy gets a beautiful girl kind of movies. And it's not as good as the original Mummy. Number 29, Halloween is Grinch Night. So this movie is nowhere near as good as How the Grinch Stole Christmas, so don't get your hopes up. The Grinch is still evil in this, so I guess it's a prequel to that movie. The movie doesn't really have anything to do with Halloween that I can remember. And the only really good thing is they refer to using the restroom as taking a euphemism. Number 30, Frankenweenie. So this one is the Tim Burton short film that I watched, not the animated feature. It references a lot of horror movies and retells the Frankenstein story just with a dog. It's a really well made film and worth watching. Number 31, Werewolf of London. This movie was kind of slow and boring and wasn't nearly as good as The Wolfman with Lon Chaney. It was kind of a lame ending to my movie marathon, but what are you gonna do? So there you have it. There's all 31 movies I watched this October. If you've seen any of these movies or have some of your own movies you watched this year you'd like to discuss, let us know. I hope you had a safe and happy Halloween, and thanks for watching.